I hope everyone's doing well today. I want to provide maybe a little bit of an update on the week 2 assignment, maybe provide some additional help because I'm seeing a lot of people miss a lot of points on the assignment, and I wanted to go through the assignment and each of the subheadings to really help you do well on the paper. So let me set up the scenario. You've been hired by NSU as a consultant to help the university figure out how to increase their total revenue. That's the key point. The university's been struggling in recent years, so they've hired you to help in their last attempt to find an appropriate solution so the university can survive. Now, the question is, should you raise or lower tuition? Suppose that in an attempt to raise more revenue, NSU increases its tuition. So we have to figure out some things. Now, on your paper, the key things that you want to focus on, the first thing is APA formatting. With your running header, you want to make sure it says running header and your title is capitalized. And it's the title that's on your paper. Okay? So make sure to focus on the title page and then focus on the second part when you do the second page, which is how do you develop and start the paper. Start it as something catchy. You know, you're hired as a consultant here. What do you need to do? What are some of your steps that you're going to focus on? So that should be your main focus right there. Now, you see I have 5 questions in there. Use them as a subheading. And underneath those subheadings, describe what you're looking at. Okay? So, we're going to look at the first one. Assess a raise in tuition and if it will necessarily result in more revenue. So if we raise tuition, will that increase the revenue? And that seems logical, and it's logical because if more students come, it could increase revenue. Revenue is price times quantity. So the more people that are there, the higher the revenue that could result. Now, describe the conditions under which the revenue would rise, fall, or remain the same. You want to focus on the concept of elasticity in your work. So, if you raise tuition and it rises, you might be selling an inelastic good, which means people will have to consume the good. Given that they'll have to consume the good, they'll still buy it, pay the higher price, and go to school. What happens if the revenue fell? If the revenue fell, it could be an elastic good, which means when the price increased, consumers had other options, so they didn't go back to school. Or they went to another school, so the tuition would decrease. And if it remains the same, you might find that it could be unit elastic, which means as the price went up, consumers bought the same percentage. So what you want to look at in the third bullet point is explain the process of revenue at NSU. Focus on the relationship between increased revenue despite higher tuition and possible lower enrollments. What are some of the factors that we might be facing? The second or the fourth bullet, if the price elasticity is negative 1.2, now that's where you come in. If it's negative 1.2, what type of good is it? Is it an elastic good or inelastic good? When you focus on those types of elasticities, then you explain what you should do to tuition given the price elasticity that was noted, negative 1.2. What type of good is it? And what should you do with tuition to increase revenue? And on the conclusion, you want to focus on all these areas and how to bring about the change in the president, as the president was looking for. Make sure to use this as interesting. Make sure to figure out how do you establish the relationship between elasticity, focus on maybe the pointers that you want to look at, and really try to bring in some support. Don't bring in support about how the school did this or how we should have extracurricular activities. It's really focused on the concept of elasticity in your work. And I think if you can focus on that, I think you'll do well. If you need help with any of your paper, you can easily send it to me through email. I'll pre-grade it for you, but I look forward to your effort.